Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to my first reading vlog. Before we get started, my name is Emily, I'm 27 years old and I like to make books and reading my entire personality. So over the next few days, I figured we would just get cozy and read some of the books that are on my January TBR. So on my January TBR is the Rebel Blue Ranch series, which are those popular romance books that have those covers that are just so stunning. The artwork is so good on them, and I've had my eye on them for a while. So I wanted to start this vlog with Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, which is a part of that series, and I picked up the first book in the series a few weeks ago. Or so I thought. I knew Done and Dusted was the first book in the series, and I could have swore that that's the one I bought when I was at the store a few weeks ago. And when I started reading it, I felt like I was missing something. Because do you guys know in those like interconnected standalone romances, how the author usually references the other books in the series? Like they'll foreshadow the future couples or they'll reference the plot from the previous book. Well, I felt like that was happening kind of a lot for being the first book in a interconnected standalone series. So I checked the cover, and what do you know, I actually bought Swift and Saddled. Like I fully knew that Done and Dusted was first, and somehow I bought and started the wrong one, and I didn't even realize until I was like 40 pages in. Anyway, I was able to get Done and Dusted on my Kindle from Libby, which is an app that lets you get ebooks through your local library. So I highly recommend downloading that, by the way, if you don't have it already. But luckily, the Libby app from my local library had Done and Dusted available. So I solved that problem, and I'm now about 20% into Done and Dusted on my Kindle, and 40 pages into Swift and Saddled. So far I'm liking both. Done and Dusted is giving Yellowstone, but if it was a Hallmark movie, in the best way. I loved that show, and Luke Brooks is fully the Hallmark version of the character Rip from the show. And what I mean by that is the author took all of Rip's rougher edges from the TV show and made them suitable for a Hallmark movie. And I'm okay with that. I do have a few things to do today before I can really sit down and read today, so let's go grab a coffee, get some stuff done. I'm gonna go on a walk, and then I will keep reading later tonight. Hello again. I just got back. I saw a friend and I ran a few errands. Basically, I just went and I grabbed a coffee, went for a walk up at the boardwalk, and then I ran out to Costco to do some household shopping. I also stopped at Barnes & Noble really quick, and I did think about getting Done and Dusted. I found it at the Barnes & Noble I went to, but I don't think I really need it right now since I did get it from the library. But I don't know, maybe if I really like it, I'll buy a hard copy, so we'll see. Also, while I was at Costco, I found this pillow on sale, and I thought it looked really cozy for reading, so I thought I would open this up together and see how it looks before I relax and read for a bit. So it's like a big wedge pillow, so I'm really excited to see what this is like when I open it. So it's like vacuum packed in here. Do I really need to look at the directions for this? Well, this is what it looks like right now. We'll check back in on this in a little while, see what it looks like. I was able to read a little bit of Done and Dusted in between some of my stops earlier, and I'm about 35% in now. I think things are progressing very quickly in this book, and I think that's because it's kind of short, and I mean, how much can you really fit in the beginning before you get to the good stuff in a romance in a book that's about 300 pages. So I think it's understandable, but yeah, things are escalating very quickly already. So yeah, let's hope this pillow fluffs up soon, and let's keep reading. It's the next day and I just finished Done and Dusted. So before I talk about my thoughts on the book, I wanted to give you guys a pillow update. So it did fluff up overnight, and it's very comfortable. I really like it. It's really portable. Like last night I had it on my bed, and tonight I have it on the floor. So it's definitely a good investment, and I'm super excited about it. So that's my new reading pillow. So now my thoughts on the book. Overall, it was cute. I feel like it was super fast-paced, almost a little too fast-paced at times, but overall it did what it needed to do. I honestly had a really stressful week at work last week, so I think this weekend I just needed something light and fun, and this did the job. This is a brother's best friend romance, and I actually haven't read a lot of them, so that was a nice change of pace. I feel like the characters' only personality traits though were that they liked each other and that they were interested in each other. So I think I would have liked a little bit more of the subplot of Emmy's racing, who's the female main character, and maybe more of Luke's troubled family dynamic and how he works through that with Emmy. That stuff was definitely there, but I think I just wanted a bit more. Overall, I liked it, and I'm excited for the next one, especially because I've already started it. So yeah, so that was done and dusted. And before I continue with Swift and Saddled, I think I actually want to try to finish another book that I've been reading throughout January, and that is Anathema by Kari Lake. So Anathema is a romantasy that's on Kindle Unlimited, and it starts off in this parish that borders what is called the Eating Woods, which is where the parishioners who live in this very devout town send sinners to sacrifice them to whatever lives in these woods. It's pretty long, and so far we've met Maveth, who is our female main character, and she lives in the mortal lands, and the parishioners kind of shun her because strange stuff happens around her. She was found as a baby on the edge of the Eating Woods, and she had a single black rose in her bassinet. Lots of speculation surrounds her. The townsfolk are kind of afraid of her. She's been having these vivid hallucinations, and she has been drawn towards the woods a few times. So something is definitely going on with her. And then on the other side of this world, in the lands that have some magic, we have Zavander, who was cursed as a baby and is working with a mage to try to break his curse. He's gone on these missions to try and secure the means to break his curse, and he also works as an assassin for the king. So I just got to the part where these two characters come together, and I'm excited to see where that goes. It definitely takes a bit of brain power to figure out the world building, but it is really interesting and intricate, and you can tell a lot of thought went into this world. Honestly, the writing is really graphic at times, and it really makes you feel like you're in these situations. And I've been a bit squeamish at parts because of that. The writing is really just vivid and intense, so I'm curious if anyone else has read this one. So let me know in the comments if you have and if you agree with me about the writing, because it's truly making me squeamish, and it's turning my stomach a little bit, but in a good way, because the author is that good of a writer. So I think I'll be reading Anathema over the next few days, so I'll check in and let you know my thoughts in a little while. It's a few days later, and I am now fully invested in Anathema by Kari Lake. I'm about 70% in, and the romantasy is starting to romantasy in the best way. I also love a male main character who yearns, and Zavander is yearning. There's one part where Maveth asks, "Do I still annoy you?" And he says, "Endlessly." So, obviously, it's romantasying. This book is very long. I think it's almost 700 pages, but I can definitely feel the plot building towards something big, and I think this is one of those books where the slow burn is really going to be worth it. And the writing is also really good. I read chapter 39 last night, and I actually teared up a bit. There's just something about her writing that's very visceral, and it really makes you feel, and this chapter was just done really well. So yeah, I'm really liking it overall. I am about to cook dinner and do a quick workout, but then I'm going to just be reading for the rest of the night and hopefully finishing this one because I just got to a really good part. So hopefully I can get this finished tonight and come back with an update later. It's a few days later, and last night I finally finished Anathema. I have to say I really liked it. Maveth wasn't a typical female main character that you normally see in a fantasy book. She is like tough and brave, don't get me wrong, but she does have this soft and caring side to her that I really liked as well. Chapter 58 was so good. It gave chapter 55 of A Court in Mist and Fury vibes, so if you know, you know. And Zavander is such an interesting character as well, and I'm really excited to see where things go in book 2. I will say that the ending of the book did get very graphic again, and it did make me queasy. It was so descriptive and gory, and the way that she describes things and the fear of the characters is like palpable in that moment. I would say because of this, this might also be classified as a horror. So if you do pick it up, just be prepared for that. Later tonight, I'm going to keep reading Swift and Saddled again. And I did already read a bit more of this. This book is really flying by. I only read for a little while and I think I'm almost at 50%. And I think I'll probably be able to finish this one tonight. I think I'm already liking this one a bit more than I liked Done and Dusted. So I am really excited to keep reading this and see where this one goes. So I wasn't able to finish Swift and Saddled last night. I literally fell asleep like mid-page, but I was able to get it on my Kindle from Libby for today so I could read it on my way to work. So I have about one chapter left. I figured we would finish it up together now before dinner and then discuss some of my thoughts. Finished Swift and Saddled, and I can say for sure that I liked this one more than Done and Dusted. Lila Sage definitely knows how to keep the pace moving in her books, and while I still think this one moved a bit too fast, it definitely keeps you hooked, and I did really like it. I want to do a quick little rating and wrap up of the 3 books that I read in this vlog before we end. This has been a pretty realistic week in my life with reading, but I had already been pretty far into that one book, Anathema, so that did help me finish 3 books in a shorter amount of time than I think I normally would. And I do want to call out that the 3 books that I did read in this video do have pretty heavy spice in them, so if that's not your favorite, these might not be for you, so that's just something to keep in mind. But now for our wrap-up. First, I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and I gave it 3.5 stars, I think. This was a reliable romance, and I would recommend it if you're looking for a classic cowboy romance. And I also read the second book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, which is obviously the one I just finished, and I think I'm going to give this one 3.75 stars. I am glad I started this series because I think I can save the last 2 for when I'm maybe falling into a reading slump where I'm looking for something a little more fast-paced. And overall, I think this author's writing is probably going to get better and better with each book that she writes. And I also finished Anathema by Carrie Lake, and that one is dark, gothic, fantasy, romance, horror, perfection. I gave that one 4 stars, and now that I've sat on it for a few days, I honestly thought there would probably be a bit of a bigger plot point towards the end, but I do think we'll get that in book 2, which is supposed to come out later this year. So there was a lot of groundwork laid, and I think it's all going to pay off in book 2 of the Eating Woods duology. So thank you so much for watching this reading vlog and following along with me. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you read any of these books or your thoughts on any of these books, or if you think you're going to read them. And thank you again. Bye for now.